Hello everybody, my name is Brian. Thank you for joining us on today's Creators Live. I see a lot of familiar faces in the chat. Let's hear some highs and hellos. Let's get some more cameras too. We like to keep it community centric here. If there's any stragglers that are in the waiting room or whatever. How's everyone going? Everyone have a good week last week? Did anyone print on any pants since last week's Creators Live? No pants? Man, yeah, you guys are really blowing up the chat here. I just can't even hear myself think, it's so loud. All right, well, we'll get right into it. You guys are being a little shy today, and that's all right. So we got some really interesting stuff, some really cool stuff for you guys today. And before you guys say anything, yes, we are going to be printing on sweatshirts today. We did that a couple of weeks ago, but the point of covering it again today is because we're going to be doing a contest, an ugly sweater contest. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of get started into the sweatshirt tutorial, kind of give you guys that information fresh so that after this, when we talk about the contest, you guys will have all that information on how to do it in case you missed maybe a couple of weeks ago when we talked about it. So we're going to get right into it. Let's go ahead and play the video for the pre-treating, and then we'll get going after that. All right, so here we are at the direct treater duel in our production area. We've got our settings for the dark cotton pre-treat, since these sweatshirts are 80% cotton, 20% polyester. So we've got it on the 3 setting for volume. We've got it 1 pass in 2 directions. Alternatively, you could do 2 passes 1 direction. It'll give you the same thing. We're going to spray the whole garment and then hit start. So we're going to open it up. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and feed it in. When you're working with larger garments like this, things with sleeves, you want to go ahead and feed in the end of the garment first, and then it'll kind of go in easier than just stuffing everything in the hole. And same thing with the hood. End first. Just like that. We don't need to pre-treat that area at all. Center it as best you can. That bottom pocket goes over the edge, tuck it in. With the sweatshirts, there's a little bit more work involved because you don't need to pre-treat those extra spaces. Okay, and there we have it. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. It just needs to be flat in the area that you want to put the pre-treat. Put the drawer in. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and take it out. I'm going to pick it up with the pre-treat facing you so it's easy to take onto the heat press. We're going to come right over here. So we're going to drop this onto the heat press right here. In this case, I've got it on sideways so that it's a little bit easier to press the whole area that we just pre-treated. Okay, that's looking pretty good. That pocket that didn't get the pre-treat can go over the edge. Let's get one of our silicone curing sheets. We have it at 320 degrees. Pressure's too high. We want it on a medium pressure. I'm going to do the first press at 5 seconds. Especially when testing out a garment for the first time. First press at 5 seconds, second press 10 seconds, and then 20 seconds each time until the garment is dry to the touch. Flip the sheet after every press. Okay. All right, so this is all dry, ready to go. Next you see me, we're gonna be over by the printer. We're gonna print this bad boy and see what we can get. Treating, that gets us to the point where I've got this sweatshirt here. So we're gonna go ahead and load it on. To answer your question I saw in the chat during the video, Jim, yes, we're using the adult platen. Not necessarily the threadable either, just the normal one. So we're gonna go ahead and get this tucked in. For sweatshirts, if they're large enough that you can tuck it sideways with all of the seams over the edge, then that's ideal. And when working with larger garments that say have sleeves and things like this, you can have it hang over the edges where the gantry does not travel. So this area and this area are fine to leave the excess garment as long as it's below the print area. It has to be sitting lower than that. So we'll go ahead and get this tucked in here. So I'll generally just do a preliminary tuck into the platen and then follow it up with tucking in all of the excess. I'm going to raise up the table as well so I have a little bit more room to get this garment in here, since this hoodie's a little bit thicker. Makes it a little bit easier. That's high enough. So we're going to get that in. If you're going to be printing a lot of hoodies, I would say you can prep this, like let's say you have 2 adult platens, you can print one and prep one. For normal t-shirts, I would kind of recommend against that. I think that it's not really going to save you that much time, but in this case it would, because this is a little bit more intensive for tucking it in. So we're going to go ahead and get that in there. Okay. And like I was saying, these sleeves can be over the sides like that. As long as it's not in an area where the gantry is going to get caught up with it, it should be fine. I'm going to tuck it in again since it kind of came loose as I was working with it. Get down on eye level. It's looking pretty good. Make sure it's all the way in the corner here. And then we'll go ahead and do the height adjustment. I'm actually seeing this area is kind of bubbling up a little bit. Must have came loose a smidge. Question in chat is, what brand hoodie are you using? Oh yeah, you wait to ask that question once I've got it tucked in all the way, huh? This is gonna be... These are called Prepared from the looks of it. Yeah, the brand is called Prepared. And these are 60-40, 60% cotton. All right, so am I messing with it? Untucked that area. Yeah, with the hoodies, you gotta be extra careful, because they do untuck pretty easily. Okay, there we go. In the spirit of our ugly Christmas sweater, ugly holiday sweater contest, we are going to be printing some nice little pine trees covered in snow. So I'm going to go ahead and get the direct rip up on the screen, and then we can go from there. Okay, can you guys see that? Yep. All right. Okay, so we've got our image here. This is normal orientation, but I tucked the shirt in with the collar facing the control panel, so I need to rotate it. I'm going to go image, rotate 90 degrees clockwise. 90 degrees I need counterclockwise. Usually I'll put the collar on the other side, so I kind of messed myself up there. We're going to go to environment, quality mode. We're working on the plus today. And in this case, we're going to do dark cotton. I prefer dark cotton for most things. I find that just the image quality and saturation is generally better. And since most of what I do is to show to you guys. I want, you know, highest quality. I don't really need to cut cost by not using the black ink, which is really the main purpose of that environment. So we've got our width. I'm going to just do the full 12.5 since I see that the canvas, I'm going to take it into the preview so you can see what I'm talking about. The canvas has some blank space at the top and bottom, so I can afford to do the maximum print area and still not print to the edge. We generally like to avoid printing the full 12.5 inches wide because the edge of the platen curves, you know, kind of get a fuzzy fade out effect as it reaches that curve. So in this case, that's not going to be a problem. With the position, instead of doing top center, I'm going to do left center. I'm going to go into the print setup and select the port. We're going to go to properties. And because the space in the image is already kind of factored in as my margin, I'm not going to add any margins here. But if your graphic needs it, that's where you would add it. In the orientation that I have it, I would want the left pointing margin. We're going to do OK and OK again. This image has a lot of white in it, so I do want the highlight layer. I'm going to put fuzziness to 15. Depending on your environments that came with your direct rip, it might have a default value of 15. That's just kind of a version thing. We're going to set highlight percentage to 85. I find at 60 it's almost not noticeable how much ink it adds. So 85 is a little bit better for me. And then we're going to right click, print preview. It's all looking good there. So I'm going to go ahead and print and click OK. There it goes. Okay. All right, so while this prints, I want to go ahead and talk about the contest that we've got going on. So the contest is going to be from today to the 22nd. The submissions must be ugly holiday sweater themed. So gotta have some kind of winter holiday theme. Ugliness is kind of subjective, so really it's just the holiday theme is what we're looking for primarily, and then ugliness will be determined compared to the rest, right? Must be printed on a sweatshirt of any kind, so either a hoodie or it can be on a zipper hoodie or just a normal pullover sweatshirt. Whatever you can get a print onto that's considered like sweatshirt material, then that'll be acceptable. Sweatpants wouldn't work. Don't try to pull one on me there. So any kind, any style, any brand, we will prioritize original designs. So part of the submission process is we need you to send us the graphic. We are not going to use the graphic for anything, but we need to be able to cross-reference and make sure that if it's an original design, then basically it's going to receive a higher priority in the judging. If you just copy paste a design off of the internet, obviously we don't want to reward that over someone who made something from scratch. So original designs will be prioritized, and it can only be DTG or DTF. So the direct to garment or direct to film. The prizes that we'll be dishing out may not be substituted for cash value or store credit. The judging will be based on print quality, design quality, and then overall execution of the theme. So that's the things to keep in mind. I want you guys to run with it. We're going to roll out a little bit more of a formatted contest terms. I'm kind of just reading to you the bullet points of the terms as we have it at this very moment. So the prize for first place will be a set of ink, and then the runner-up, the second place prize, will be a DTF starter kit. So that's what the contest is for. Does anybody have any questions about that before we move on? Any questions about the contest? Okay. Oh, submissions will be to my direct email address, so you want to email it to brian@omniprintonline.com with both the original graphic and the finished print. And then we also we need you to post a picture of the finished print on some kind of social media and tag it to our social media. So we'll be dropping that onto our socials, into the Facebook group, so that you guys can find those easily as well. It's the 1st to the 22nd. That'll be the dates. So we're done with the white. It's going to come back to the color since we have it on the layer B setting. Didn't need any input there. So I'm really excited to see what you guys make. Yeah, like I said, I'm really excited to see what kind of designs you guys come up with. Yeah, I feel like I say that every week, but I love to see the kinds of things that you guys print and do. And this is just a great excuse for you guys to send that stuff to me. All right, well, that's everything I've got right now. Linda is asking, I had a customer here, so I just got on. So we were just talking about ugly holiday sweater contest. Notice you left all layer settings at default. Don't we usually set up resolution on white? So you can increase the resolution on the white underbase. I am seeing in the print that the white underbase is a little bit light, but I think it's because I put a little too little pretreat onto the garment. I feel like if I had increased the pretreat a smidge, then I would have gotten a better result without having to increase the resolution. So it's kind of a here or there. You could do either or. I heard someone unmute. Did someone else have a question? Is that John?
Yeah, I had a quick question.
Yeah.
What does the fuzziness number do on the print? I'm curious.
My understanding of fuzziness is it's the direct rip's way of determining how much color to treat as white with regards to the highlight layer. So if fuzziness is at 0, then only the true white color will be treated like white when it prints.
Okay, so if I'm printing just a white shirt, I would or not a white shirt, sorry, printing white on a black shirt. And on my underbase, I would just keep that at 100. And then when I do my other layer, put the fuzziness to 0, so it just comes out pure white.
So it should default to 0. Another thing you can do to kind of save yourself some time, I imagine that you're probably printing more than one of these, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take you back into the direct rip here, and I'm going to show you a little trick that you can do. Let me see here. Is it still sharing this screen?
Yeah, right now we could see the printer.
Let me see. It's not. Man, I hate Zoom sometimes. Let's see. Okay, here we go. All right, you guys can see it now?
Yeah.
So what you can do, set up your job like normal, and then come over here into the queue manager. You're going to click this button, add the active document, and then you're going to click rip. Once this rips the job, you can right click and choose, oh boy, it's not giving me the, off the top of my head it's print options. We'll know once this print is done. It's nearly finished. And it'll give you an option to just print the white layer. and then it'll only do the one pass and then it'll be done. Since you're just printing white ink, you don't need it to do that second pass, especially if you're not going to be printing any ink during that pass. So just give me 1 second for this print to finish, and then I'll show you exactly what I mean. It's nearly done. Okay, there it is. So on here we can do print selection, that's what it's called. And then you would just uncheck your color layer, and then you would just print the white underbase only. Since your image is only white, that's how you would achieve that. And then I see another question in the chat. Mario's asking, I noticed you we already talked about that. I've been having issues with doing a black Gildan 18,000 sweaters. Print looks amazing until I cure the ink. Sweater is a 50-50 blend. Once I cure the ink, the colors get dark and some spots show through the black. So that indicates to me that either your garment was not dry enough or there's not enough pre-treat. Effectively, what those little specks or those dots that show through, that's basically areas where either moisture is escaping or it's still wet enough that the pre-treat is not going to set the white underbase as it makes contact. So the ink kind of leaks through in that area, so to speak. So check your pre-treat and the dryness of your garment, especially with thicker sweater type materials. You're really going to have sometimes a difficult time getting it nice and dry. What I would recommend is if you can thread your hoodie onto the heat press when you're pressing it for the pre-treat, that'll keep it a lot more controlled and keep it, you know, a nice consistent dryness. That was a great question. Did anyone else have any questions? Does the temperature matter since it's a 50-50? I use 320. So I forgot about the 50-50 part. So do you have a Plus model or is it the 330TX? It's the Plus. Okay, so with regards to the Plus, you have the option to not only use and try the cotton process. Since it's a 50-50, it is recommended you start by treating it just like a normal cotton sweatshirt. If you don't like the results, the backup plan is to always try it like a polyester. So try the polyester method if you don't like how the cotton method is turning out. And that might give you better results.
What is the polyester way
So that'll be using the polyester pre-treat, the 220 degree temperature, and then the polyester environment on the direct rip, and then the curing as well.
Can I use any pre-treated from the regular like cotton shirt to do a polyester?
You're saying like using cotton pre-treat on a polyester shirt?
Yes.
That would not yield very good results, particularly in the wash. It might look good initially, and then it's just not going to wash well. Jose is asking, I've heard you can use 50% cotton pre-treat and 50% polyester mixed. I have never heard that before, nor have I ever tried it. If you're gonna try it, I would say maybe do it in a controlled manner where you separate out some pre-treat so that you're not just cross-contaminating your whole batch. But I'm not sure what that's meant to address. Is that specifically for 50-50 blends? Or why would you mix them like that? I would like to know. Okay, so this is the print result that we got. Like I said, I'm not very happy with how the white underbase looks. Next time I would use a little bit more pre-treat, and I reckon that would solve the problem. Man, to the camera it looks pretty good. Let me see if I can get you on the white underbase and you can see. You can kind of tell there, maybe. Can you guys tell?
yeah, on hoodies, I always hit it twice with pre-treater, and it comes up pretty dope.
Yeah, I think I might try that for the next one.
Yeah,
And
I hit it twice, I dry it up, and then I also do it again, and then I dry it up again, and then it comes up pretty dope.
yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a process to kind of ride that line of too much pre-treat and not enough pre-treat. I see slits on the fabric. Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. So I would try a little bit more pre-treat on this one. I think double would be too much, and it would kind of become a puddle of ink, and it would wash poorly. Not that I really have to worry about wash, since this is just for the office and that's it. And you know, I might wear it around Christmas time, but you know, for products that you guys are producing, that wouldn't. I don't think just simply doubling up on the pre-treat and doubling up on the ink would be good. You got to kind of. I find it's a little bit more nuanced in order to get those wash results down.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. All I use is a spray bottle. I mean, they gave me the spray machine, and I don't use that. I think the spray bottle and I hit it twice. I think that should do a pretty decent job.
Huh. Okay. Well, I mean, ultimately, it's whatever works for you. I'm happy you found something that works for you. That's really the bottom line.
Yep. My only question is, so sometimes when I actually print on college shirts, I don't know which pre-treated to use. Should I use the white for the white, or should I use the dark on the light?
So here's your rule of thumb that you can apply to anything. If it needs white ink, it needs dark pre-treat.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I see someone else is unmuted. Marco, were you looking to?
Yeah, I have a quick question for you.
Sure
Uh,
thing.
I try to catch these videos whenever I can. They seem to come on like right an hour before I get off work. But what I would like to know is for future videos, is it possible that you can do some prints, some sample prints on maybe some color hoodies and color t-shirts like red and blue? Because I notice you guys do black all the time, but I often have customers that don't want black shirts all the time. They want color shirts. And I notice when I'm doing these bright color shirts, I'm always having a problem with pre-treating, and it's very discouraging. I don't have a problem with the print. It's the actual pre-treat process that I'm having a serious issue with.
Okay. Yeah, totally. I hear that. So the reason that we generally do black and white is because that's what we have in stock normally. But we can certainly do that. We can do a whole session on colored garments and how to address those kinds of issues that come with those.
Man,
I have
think
another.
A suggestion. Thank you.
we would all very, very much appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. We might even be able to fit that into this month's schedule, even.
Man, thank you. Because if I
Yeah.
if I can solve that problem with the pre-tree, like I say, that's the most discouraging thing I have right now. I've been having my machine for over a year, and I try to print when I can. As you see, I'm coming from work, and I'm at work most of the time. But like I say, the most discouraging thing is the pre-treat, and it's gotten so bad that I've actually thought about selling my machine
Oh
because
man.
I'm spending so much money on wasting t-shirts that by the time I actually get a good one done, I've already maybe ran through maybe 3 or 4 shirts. And it
Okay.
really depends on the design. If I'm doing a custom design, I try to do mine exactly a 12 by 17 so I can cover all the bases of it. But a
Mhm.
lot of times they're having these designs that are have been contour cut already, so they don't have a specific square shape. They're just a design that sits in the middle of the pre-treat, and then I have that huge box going around it.
Okay. Yeah, so one thing I do want to say, you know, with colored garments, it is normal to see a very exaggerated pre-treat square following heat pressing. The problem is when it stays. It should fade after about 30 minutes max, but if it stays, then that's obviously a problem. That means it stained the shirt. We
Right.
have a couple of people in the chat in applying that lower heated platen on the heat press, or shorter presses when drying the garment, helped Mario. And then Jay is saying color garments, take a few trials, pre-treat mistakes on color shirts and hoodies will show the box a lot easier. Yeah, so we'll definitely be doing, I think that's a really great topic for us to work on before the end of the year. So we'll be rolling out one of those. That's definitely one that we will be, just like with all of them lately where we have pre-treat, we're going to pre-record the pre-treat since we can't be having heat press and everything in here. This studio is just a little bit too small for that. Gets cluttered real easy. So we'll pre-record that, and then we'll drop a video just in case you guys can't catch it live. We would have the video go up shortly thereafter. And then Marlon's also saying that for red and royal blue that he's using 305 on the temperature for drying the pre-treatment.
Yeah, can you do it on the red shirt? Because I am having the same problems, but only on red.
Okay. Is there a particular brand you guys are using that you're having difficulty with, or is it any red?
I do.
No, I use Bella Canvas.
Bella Canvas? Okay. And who else was speaking? Was that Mario?
Look, Alex, I use gilding, 100% cotton.
Okay. I'll try to get a combination because I know those are both popular brands. So I just wanted to touch on the contest that we're doing one last time before we wrap it up here. So we're doing that ugly holiday sweater themed contest. Oh, actually, we'll put a plug in that real quick. Off topic, I bought a new computer with Windows 10 and need help doing the software install. Go ahead and email me, Jim, Brian@omniprintonline.com. I'll get you taken care of after this. And then Jose is saying, has anyone tried Shakaware's t-shirts? I have not worked with the Shakaware brand before. So the contest, ugly holiday sweater theme, must be printed on a sweatshirt of some kind, any kind. Original designs will be prioritized. And when you do the submission, we do need the graphic that you printed. It can only be DTG or DTF, so the direct to garment or direct to film. The prizes cannot be substituted for cash value or store credit. We'll be judging the submissions based on print quality, print design, design quality, and overall execution. The prizes that are up for grabs, first place is going to be a set of ink, and then the second place will have the DTF starter kit. In addition to submitting directly to my email address, we do need you guys to tag us on social media. We'll be dropping that into our social media platforms shortly. And I see a hand raised. Danny, go ahead.
Hello, I just had a quick question.
Sure.
In regards, while we're on the topic with the box, I've noticed I get the square on the white garments.
Okay.
So it's only when they're actually washed already, that square would appear. Am I doing something wrong, or is there?
So you're getting a pre-treat square, but only after you wash
After
it?
it's washed, that's correct.
Now, have you noticed it after specifically the wash cycle, or is it after the dry cycle?
It's after the wash.
Huh. You might be using maybe too much pre-treat. Are you using the dark pre-treat on the white shirts by chance?
No, I'm using the light.
Because I've seen that using dark pre-treat onto white shirts. Basically what happens is either you put too much pre-treat onto your white shirt, or you overpressed it and it basically kind of ended up burning the pre-treat, and you can kind of have that sort of scenario. Was Gilmar, were you raising your hand?
Oh.
Yep.
Yes. Right. Yes, I was. He'd probably be overpressing and putting too much heat in it. Then after that, it's burning. It only appears after you wash the shirt. Because when I used to do screen printing, I used to have that problem.
Okay. And what was did you find a resolution for that problem that you would be able to share?
A little less heat and, and actually doing some different shirts, checking which temperature was going to be the better one. Or not.
Okay, so adjusting the temperature worked out best for you?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for chiming in there.
And also, and check, which are better and everything else in designs. I got, what call it, it's from a square from my screen print, kind of that way. Testers, kind of that way.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Your shirt, you use those things as a tester, to put your ink and everything else, see how the colors and everything come out.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you so much for chiming in. I appreciate you. Let's see. We have someone in the chat asking, let me see. Is it normal that there are gaps of white ink in the underbase and wait for it to dry to be able to start with the color? So, Caesar, there's kind of a lot to unpack there. Would you mind unmuting and kind of explaining a little bit more detail of what's going on with that print? Well, that's okay. Okay. So with Caesar, is it normal that there are gaps of white ink in the underbase? Only if there's gaps of color in your image. So if your image is consistent, but your white underbase isn't, that's not normal. I would encourage you to open a support ticket for that. Waiting for it to dry to be able to start with the color, does that mean that the white that it does print is like a puddle? If that's the case, then we need you to try less pre-treat. That's usually the indicator for that. Victor implied 3-layer hoodies. Check them out. Price is good. DeMarco. Oh, Irenzo. You got your hand raised?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
All right, so I had a question about when I try to print in that photo environment.
Okay.
As you see, I am an African American, so the colors for the African American photos that I put up there never come out with the true color. It's usually come out darker than for the skin tones.
Okay.
And I was wondering, is there anything I can do to fix that?
Photos can be a little bit tricky just in general. Skin tones particularly will always be a little bit difficult. So one thing you need to make sure is that your pre-treat is on point. If areas where it's solid color do not have a solid white underbase, you're going to have problems with the print in the long run. And then one other thing that I would have you do, if it has highlight on with any value of fuzziness, just turn highlight generator from on the fly to none. That's going to be your best bet there. Ooh.
Okay, one other question.
Sure.
I had called in maybe like 2 months ago or so, and I was asking about DTF. So every time I do a DTF with black ink, just a black image, it seems to bleed. It has that blue bleed coming off of it. Okay. So I was working with, I forgot the gentleman's name, Mr. Williams, with you guys, and we never got it resolved.
Okay. Are you using the new environments or the old ones?
The new, to me, it's the new environments. He had actually came on my computer and downloaded it for me and dragged it over there. Unless you got an update to that. Now, the only thing that he told me, the only thing that he told me to try to do was change it to uni and make the droplet size like small and medium. Now that helps a little bit, but it still bleeds. So if I ever decide to try to sell the transfer of a fully black image, it's going to have that blue bleed to it.
Okay. What I would need you to do is send me a picture so that I can kind of see what we're working with, and then we can troubleshoot it off stream.
Okay.
Okay. We'll connect on the phone after this.
Okay.
Okay, and then I also see that John has his hand raised. Going once, going twice.
Hi, sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
So I'm running a dual treater.
Okay.
Now, I had a quick question regarding the amount of pre-treat you use on dark. You know, on the front settings, so there's like different bars you choose?
Yeah.
Like, are you guys consistently using like a 3 bar? One pass?
For the sweatshirts, I'm using the number 3 on the volume, and then I do 2 pass.
So you do 2 pass.
For regular shirts, I would use a 2 volume on a 2 pass.
So you do consistently 2 pass, front and back. Okay.
Yeah. Now, obviously, that will get adjusted depending on your garment. So once you take it over to the heat press, if it has like severe crystallization, it might be too much pre-treat and you need to dial it back. At that point, try the 2 volume, 1 pass, and see if that does you better.
Okay. Yeah, it's been okay. It's just sometimes I feel it's not consistent.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
I would say, well, what kind of consistency issues are you having?
I keep using the same nozzle, but I clean them, and then what happens is I feel like sometimes it comes out thicker once, and then the next time it comes out thinner. So it's weird. And so what I've been trying to do is kind of set a balance in between.
Mm-hmm.
And I found sometimes just doing the 1 pass works best at 3, like 3 and 1 pass.
Okay.
But then I still get a bit of the crystallization. Like I've tried lowering the heats, and I let it sit a while before I put it on the heat press, trying to see if it doesn't crystallize. But sometimes I can't avoid it.
Okay, what you can do with your very first press, try a shorter press. So try like 5 seconds.
That's what I usually do. I go 5, let the steam, and then I do 25. I do 3 25s.
Okay, and that's how you get the crystallization?
Yeah,
Do you notice it on the 3rd press?
Yes. Yes. It's always on the last one.
It's your silicone sheet. So when you do the first press that's short, any excess pre-treat is sticking to your silicone sheet. You flip it. You have a fresh side going onto your garment. It's nice. And then on the 3rd time, you flip it again, right? And then you're reapplying that pre-treat that got stuck to the sheet back onto the garment. So instead of flipping it after the first press, first press, 5 seconds, flip it, and then every time after that, just rotate it instead.
Okay. I have a lower heated platen. Mm-hmm. I was also trying, it seemed to help. I just let it, so once I apply the pre-treat, I'll throw it on the lower heated platen at 320, and I let it sit for like a good 15 seconds, and then I'll start. And I noticed that sometimes helps. But you know what, that silicone sheet idea, you know what, that could be it. You know what?
Yeah, I mean, if it's happening on the 3rd press, like specifically the 3rd press, that's the problem.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Let me
and
see.
The lower heating plan. Sorry, on you had that one guy with the ink issues. I find that I don't know if he has the lower heated plan, but that helped my problem.
Okay.
Where the black was always leaking.
Mm-hmm.
I have the lower heated plan and it helped that.
Okay, so when you take it over to the heat press, then that's helping.
Yeah, before, like when I used to do my DTFs with the dark colors, like black especially, it would always want to run. And then once I got the lower heating plan for the DTF, it got rid of that. I keep it at 30. Are you talking about
the heated vacuum platen?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that might be his answer if he's always having that issue.
Yeah, that's always a recommendation with direct-to-film is the heated vacuum platen will help with that kind of thing. But there's generally a way to troubleshoot it. It's just that the vacuum platen will make it so you don't have to troubleshoot that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it keeps the quality of the print better too.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you, you too. So Jose is asking, please explain the difference between uni and bi. So bidirectional printing is how the printer prints by default. So it prints left and it prints right. Unidirectional printing is it prints left and then it returns and then it prints left again. The reason that you want to do that is if your print head needs to be a little bit farther away from the garment, it'll still print consistently rather than having a blurry like crosshatch of the ink coverage. Because you can think of the print head kind of like a magnifying glass. When it's too far or too close, you get a blurry outcome. And then when it's just right, that's when you get that nice crisp design. So unidirectional printing will just print in one direction so that it'll be more in focus, so to speak. And then we'll go ahead and drop the tech support's phone number into the chat if we can get that. I think we should have that on our website. Worst case, you can always email support@omniprintonline.com. If you're not getting a response in an appropriate amount of time, go ahead and forward me the auto response that you get when you open the ticket. Forward it to my email address, brian@omniprintonline.com, and I'll take a look and see what's going on. In regards to, Mario put another question here. Aren't we supposed to use 12-second presses with the lower heated platen? So that all depends on how much pretreat you're using and what kind of garments you're using, Mario. 12 seconds is a good starting point, but for some garments you need to adjust it. Okay, so this has been a pretty good engagement from you guys. I got a lot out of you today. I was thinking at the beginning that you guys weren't going to be too talkative, but you brought it back. So thank you so much for joining us. I think we're going to wrap it there. With this print, I am going to just take it over to the heat press, press it on a 1 or a 2 pressure for 90 seconds 2 times since we used the regular amount of ink. And in regards to what we were talking about before, I would just use either a stronger white underbase or a little bit more pretreat for best results. So that's all we have for today. Thank you all for joining me. My name is Brian. This has been Creators Live, and we'll see you next week on Wednesday.